नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारणे गुरवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालय कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। गीता जयंती के उपलक्ष्य में श्रीमद् भगवद गीता भगवत वाणी के ऊपर श्रीधाम वृंदावन से ISKCON वृंदावन टीवी सॉरी in the glorification of Gita Jayanti, which was on 14th of this month, this central sort of headquarter of the spiritual movement, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, the Vrindavan television is broadcasting the all 18 chapters of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in summary for the sincere soul to reconnect with Krishna and perfect their life through devotional service. So today we are here to summarize the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is like moksha, yoga, or renunciation. So this is actually Srila Prabhupada writes that Bhagavad Gita was complete by 17th chapter, but Krishna answered Arjun's one question and then he recapitulated the whole Bhagavad Gita. So 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is a recapitulation and summary of the whole Bhagavad Gita. So the first 12 verses, verse 1 to 12, is actually the summary of the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, that is the Karma Yoga. So now what is in the first 6 chapter of Bhagavad Gita? There are 2 principles. The first principle is everybody, every living entity has to work. He cannot avoid doing something. So everybody has to act. Now the second principle is when you have to act, you cannot avoid acting, then how to act that there is no bondage to the action. So how to be free from the work. So these are the 2 principles in the first 6 chapters. Everybody has to work and how to get free from bondage of the work. The second 6th chapter give in summary for whom shall we work and how we do our work. So second 6th chapter says work for Krishna and how to work? Work through devotion. Now the last 6th chapter, there are also again 2 principles. What is the cause of bondage and how to be free, how to get free from bondage. The bondage is by 3 modes of material nature, which is like a rope. And to be free from the bondage is gradually through the yoga ladder, through Nishkama Karma Yoga to the Jnana Yoga, and then gradually go to the Dhyana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. So all is in this 18th chapter. So we are now starting the first 12 verses which summarize the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Arjun is asking question. Sri Arjun Vacha Sannyasasya Mahabaho Tattvam Ichchatum Veditum Tyagascha Rishikesha Prathikkeshi Nishodana. Now Arjun's question is, sannyas is Mahabaho. Arjun is addressing Krishna as a Mahabaho, means mighty arm, and Rishikesh means the master of the senses. So you, Krishna, the master of the senses and the most mighty Supreme Lord, I have heard these two words. One is sannyas and other is tyag. What is actually the meaning of these two words? Are the two words have a same meaning or they are different? Please you explain these both words very conclusively and clearly to me. So what are the two words? Sannyas means renunciation, and tyag also means detachment, which is more or less like renunciation. What is the difference between the two? So Krishna is answering this. Sri Bhagavan Vacha Kamyanam Karamnam Nyasam Sannyasam Kavyo Viduhu Sarva Kalam Phal Tyagam Prahus Tyagaha Vichikshanaha. Kavya means learned and Vichikshana means also learned, are the highly wise people. So what is sannyasis? Kamyanam Karmanam Nyasam. Kamyanam Karmanam means, Kamya means desire. The work which is for fruitive desires, if that is given up, that is called sannyas. And what is tyag? Sarva karma phala tyaga. It means giving up the result of all the work. It means do all work. So the word here kamya is there. We have the different type of work or action. One is called kamya karam. It means with desire doing some work. Other is called nitya karam, which we do every day. And then there are namitik karam, which are once in a year, sometime like Janmashtami or some other occasions. So there are different type of work. So sannyasi give up the work, which is cause of bondage. But the tyagi works, he never give up work. He always work, but he give up the result of the work. This is the difference between the sannyas and tyag, which is described by learned wise people. Now Krishna is further saying, Tyajam doshvaditi eke karma prahur manishninaha. Manishniya means those who are contemplating on the absolute truth. Muni, mananshil. So they say, some of them say, Tyajam doshvaditi, because the work has some fault, therefore we should give it up. Karam prahur manishnaha. So some people say like that. Yagna dan karam phala tyajam iti chapare. But the other wise people said the three type of work should never be given up. And what are these three type? These three type is yagna, which means sacrifice, and dana, which means charity, and tapa, which means austerity. These three actions should never be given up. That is the opinion of other wise people. Now Krishna is saying, Nisyam shrino me matam. Nisyam shrino me tatra tyage bhartra satama. Tyago hi purusha vyagraha trividha sampakirtitaha. Now Krishna is telling Arjun what I am now going to tell you. This tyag or sort of giving up the result of all action is of three types, three types. And how there are three types? According to the mode of nature. So Shri Krishna says, Yagna dana tapa karam na tyajam, tyajam karyam eva tata, yagno danam tapascha eva pavanani manishrinam. Krishna is saying, these three works should never be given up. Nobody should give up these three things: austerity, charity, and sacrifice. And Srila Prabhupada in commentary writes, I am sannyasi. It's not my duty to perform marriage ceremony, but since it is a yajna, Vivaha Yajna. So I am arranging marriage of my students because Krishna says here they should never be given up. So even I am a sannyasi, still I am taking care of all these things because this is Krishna's instruction. Krishna first says, Etani tu api karmani sangam tyaktva phalani cha kartavyani iti me parth nishitam matam uttamam. Now Krishna is giving his opinion that one who has no attachment to the work and no attachment to the fruit of the work. Both things, one is called kartapan, other is called, say, bhoktapan, enjoyer. I want to enjoy the result of my work, I am too attached to my work. One who gives up all these is actually the one who is really the one who is detached. Krishna says, Niyatasto sannyasa karmano napapadyate mohatasya parityag tamas parikirtita. Those who are in a mode of good patience. Now these are the three modes there. Those who are in a niyatastu sannyasa, one prescribed duty should never be renounced. Prabhupada writes, Srila Prabhupada says, prescribed duty should never be renounced. What are the prescribed duties? Which are according to our own varna and ashram, which are according to our propensities and natural inclinations. They should never be given up. If one gives up his prescribed duty because of illusion, mohad, because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So this should be rejected. Mode of ignorance and mode of patience are lower modes. These both should be given up. One has to come to the mode of goodness. Srila Prabhupada says, I have established this Krishna conscious movement to bring people to mode of goodness. Because in mode of goodness we have a inclination for knowledge. And knowledge, by knowledge we dissipate or diminish our ignorance. And then by good association we can further advance in devotion. So Sri Krishna further says, Dukkham iti eva yat karma tyajam kaya kalesha bhayata tyajeta, which means some people give up the work because it gives pain to the body, like in a winter season right now. To get up early in the morning and bath is very difficult, and somebody said, oh, it is very difficult, and then he don't go and do Mangal Arati or chant his holy name. It means he is giving his prescribed duty because of the pain of the body, and this type of giving up work is mode of patience. It is a mode of patience. So mode of ignorance was already, we discussed mode of ignorance because that person is not even doing his prescribed duty, but he is now not doing prescribed duty because it is very giving trouble to the body. And many people, because of the bodily difficulties, are not coming to the temple, chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, reading Bhagavad Gita. This is because of mode of patience, which is binding. Sakartva rajsam tyag naiva tyagaha phalam labheta. He will not get any fruit of this type of renunciation. Krishna says further, karyameti yet karma niyatam kriyate Arjun sangam tyaktva phalam chaiva satyagi satviko mataha. Who is the renouncer who is in a mode of goodness? Srila Prabhupada says, O Arjun, when the one perform his prescribed duty only because it is ought to be done, as a obligation that this is my responsibility, I should do it. So he is doing out of his Srila Prabhupada writes, why he is doing? Ought to be done, and renounce all material association, all attachment to the fruit. No kartapan, that I am the doer and I am an enjoyer. No, he has given up these two. This type of renunciation is mode of goodness. And the next verse says, Na dveshti akushlam karma, na kushle nanu sajjate. If the work is not favorable, no problem, he will do it. He is not attached. If work is favorable, he is not attached to it. He will do the both work, whether it is auspicious or inauspicious, favorable or unfavorable. What Arjun is going to do, he is going to kill the people. It is not very auspicious work, but this work, because Krishna wanted to do it, so he is not doing it that I am doer and I am enjoyer. He is simply doing as a duty because he is by nature Kshatriya or a warrior, and it is his duty that he should do for the purpose of dharma or for the purpose of righteousness. So this type of work, Sri Krishna here says, he is a intelligent renouncer situated in mode of goodness, neither hateful of inauspicious or attached to the auspicious work. He has no doubt about the work. That's a medhavi chin sankshaya. He has no doubt about the work. Work may be auspicious or inauspicious. There are some work which is not auspicious, but still we have to do. So both work are equal for him because he is doing it as a duty. He has not attached to the work or the result of the work. And then the nahi dehe bhrita sakyam tyaktum karmane aseshata yastu karam phal tyagi satyagi abhidyate. Now Krishna is giving almost his final opinion that nobody can be inactive. He has to act. It's not possible to maintain the body without work. So everybody has to act and work. Therefore it is better to give up the fruit. Then we will not be bound by work. We have to work, but don't be attached that I am the doer and don't expect any result of the work. Just do the work as a duty. And then concluding verse of this section, the summary of the first 6 chapter is Anishtam, Ishtam, Mishram cha Trividham Karmanah Phalam. Any work has 3 results. One is favorable, which one goes in the heaven and enjoy. One is painful, going to the hell and suffer. And one is mixture of the both, and that he will come on the earthly planet and get a human body and have both this happiness and suffering. So every work has one of the 3 results. Ishtam, this is the words are Anishtam, Ishtam, Mishram. Anishtam means not, one does not like. Srila Prabhupada writes, 3-fold fruits of action: desirable, undesirable and mixed. Desirable means going to the heaven, undesirable going to the hell, and mixed is coming on this earthly planet which we have now got chance. We are right here. After death, preta means after leaving this body. These are the 3 results of all these actions. For those who are attached to the work and the result of the work. But those who are not attached, they will be free from all 3 actions of the work. So here the first 6 chapters summary is over. So what is this? Again I am telling you, what is the summary of the first 6 chapter? You have to work. But now how to work that you should not get bound? We should work with detachment and without the attachment to the result of the work, and then we are free and we will never be bound by it. Now the verse number 13 to 18 is a summary of the last 6 chapter. In this summary, the subject is jnana or a knowledge, because the last 6 chapter deal with the knowledge and how from the knowledge one can come to the devotion. So we are reading the verse number 13. Now what is knowledge means? Now knowledge about action, how the action is performed. So this most important verse, Panchetani Mahabaho Karanani Nibodame Sankhya Kirtane Proktani Siddhya Sarva Karmanan. For all action to be perfect, there are 5 causes. Any work is accomplished by 5 causes. This is the opinion of Sankhya, means analytical study. And what are these 5? Anishtam adhishtanam tatha karta karanam cha trividha vividhascha pratikcheshta devam chevatra panchamam. What are these 5 causes of any action? The first is adhishtanam, which means this body, and the next is karta, means doer, which means soul, And third is karanam, which means senses. And fourth is chesta, means endeavor. And fifth is devam, means the word for devam, Srila Prabhupada writes, panchamam. What is the fifth one? Supreme. Devam means supreme, Srila Prabhupada writes. So these are the 5 causes for any work. Now any work performed, it has 5 causes. So how one can perform work? Work is performed by 3 things. Any work which anybody is doing anywhere in the world, any community, any society, any nation, it has 3. These are the 5 causes of the work. And work of the body or action performed by the body is by 3 ways. And what are the 3 ways? Sarirvan manobhir, Sarirvan manobhir. Sarir means body. Vak means talking with words. And mano means with mind. So all the works are accomplished by body, which includes senses, and tongue which talks, and the mind which think. So these are the 3 yat karma prarabhate nara. Whoever starts the work is started by the body, mind and words. Therefore you see sannyasis, they carry the rod which have 3 rods inside, danda which have 3 rods, which means I am offering the work of my body, mind and words at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. So body, mind and work, body, mind and words. If you say in small, in short it says BMW. So BMW, sannyasi has this danda which is his BMW car. He can go anywhere in the world because his work is not binding, he is free, and he is given this facility that he is performing his work with body, mind and words simply to please Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. He has no personal agenda. That is the meaning of how to work in Krishna consciousness. Tatravam sati karanam atmanam kevalatu yah priya. But one who is very foolish, who thinks that only I am the doer. There are 5 doers. But one who thinks I am the doer, this is a very common question people ask when we go in preaching. Well, body is a inert matter, it cannot do anything. Soul is Satchitananda, transcendental, and is under control of Supreme Lord. So all we are doing, it is being done by the Supreme Lord. Is He responsible for all the works which we perform? Who is doer? This is a common question. Who is doer? Who will suffer the result of one's karma? Remember, there are 5 doers here. And Srila Prabhupada writes, out of the 5 doers, ultimately the controller is Devam, or the supreme or destiny. But remember, the soul is also one of the doers out of the 4. But what soul does? Soul desire. Then what the super soul does? He gives only permission. Then what this body and the senses and endeavor do? They provide the mechanism for accomplishing the result. Like a machine. Say you want to have a factory. It is your desire, you want a factory. Government will sanction you that you can have your factory. Then you get machinery for running the factory. So this body is a machinery for running to fulfill the desire of the soul, and sanction is given by Supreme Lord. Now I am asking you a question. You have desired factory, so who is responsible if there is a loss in the factory or there is a profit in the factory? Is the one who gives permit, does he suffer? No. The machinery suffer? No. It is the one who desire who suffer. So ultimately the soul who desire. And Srila Prabhupada writes, everything depends upon desire. This whole material world in 15th chapter you must have heard, like the tree, upside down tree is seen on a reflection seen on the water. So this world is a reflection of the spiritual world, and instead of water there is a desire. So everything depends upon desire. And this is a very famous verse Prabhupada used to quote, Nityo Nityanam Chetas Chetanam Eko Nam Bahunam Vidhati Kaman. One Supreme Spirit is fulfilling the desire of unlimited living entities since time immemorial. So now the whole purpose of hearing Bhagavad Gita is to rechannel our desire, to dovetail our desire with the desire of the Supreme Lord, not for sense gratification, not for enjoyment, but for the service of the Supreme. Then all problems are solved. Now, Sri Krishna further says, Yasya nahankrito bhava buddhi yasya na lipyate. One who thinks I am not a doer, nahankrito bhava, he has no false ego, is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not enkindled. Buddhi tasya, buddhi means intelligence. Such a person, a skillful man in this world, does not kill, not bound by the action. So the main thing is, if you think I am not doer, I am not enjoyer, I am doing as my duty, then he is not bound. And here the last verse of this section of the last 6th chapter summary, Jnanam Geyam Parigyata Trividha Karma Sankochodana. These three things, knowledge, Jnanam, Geyam, what is to be known, and Parigyata, the knower. Knowledge, knower, and what is to be known. These are the three Vidam Karma Chodana. They give the impetus for work. And how the work is accomplished? Karanam Karma Karteti Trividha Karma Sangraha. Work is accomplished by three things. And what are these three things? Karanam, which means senses. Karma means action, and Karteti means doer. So Srila Prabhupada translates knowledge, object of knowledge, and knower are the three factors that motivate action. Prabhupada writes, before you perform any action in your mind, you plan. Then you plan, you organize, you get things, and then you start working. So first thing, three things are there in planning or motivation. They are knowledge, the knower, and the object of knowledge. And then the senses, the work, and the doer are the three constituents of action. And action is performed by the soul with the senses and with the work. Now we have a next section which is from 19 to 40. This 19 to 40 says modes control all actions. Whatever action we perform, they are under the control of three modes of material nature. So this is a bigger section of this 18th chapter, which says mode controls the action. Whatever action anybody perform, it is always under the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, or ignorance. So in this section, Jnanam Karam cha Karta cha Trideva Gun Bhedita. Whatever, now the knowledge is also of three types: the knowledge in mode of goodness, mode of ignorance, and mode of passion. Similarly, the work is also in mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Similarly, if we go to the other items in this section, and what are the other items? The other items are the other item is the Gyan is of three type, Karam is three type, then Buddhi is also three type, and then Dhriti is of three type. So these are the different works which are under the different. So if we have to summarize this, but anyway, let me give you the little idea about the first subject here. Sarvabhuteshu yenaikam bhavam avyam ikshate. There are different types of bodies, but one who sees the soul, which is the superior energy of the Supreme Light is one. As an energy, is actually the knower in the mode of goodness. This type of knowledge is mode of goodness. That bodies may be of different varieties, some is demigod, some is human being, some is cow, some is bull, some is horse, but the soul and the super soul which accompanies the soul in the body, they are different from the different bodies. Now that knowledge which thinks that all the different bodies are all separate is in mode of passion. And those who think only one work which I want to do, that knowledge, the third verse says, the knowledge by which one sees that in every different body there is a different type of living entity is in mode of passion. But and the knowledge by which one is attached to the kind of work, as all in all, only this thing I will do, without knowledge of the truth, in which is very meager, is said to be mode of ignorance. Srila Prabhupada writes, this is the knowledge of a common man. And what is the knowledge of common man? Oh, I will earn. Why? Money is the only knowledge of a common man. Why you need money? To enjoy. What do you want to enjoy? Oh, I want to enjoy. I want to eat. Okay, you got eating. Then, oh, I want to marry. Okay, go marry. Then what do you want need? Oh, I need home. All right. So what is your knowledge? Your knowledge is, this is a common knowledge of the animal: eating, mating, defending and sleeping. That is the knowledge of a common man which is in mode of ignorance. So there are three types of knowledge. Most of the people on the planet are under the influence of knowledge in mode of ignorance. They are only interested in four activities, which is an animalistic propensity. If there is no religiosity or spirituality in human beings, then as Srila Prabhupada used to say, the animal is running on the four legs and the modern civilization is running on the four wheels, but they have same four propensities: eating, mating, defending and sleeping, and they only advance in all these four items. They have no higher intelligence to know the science of the soul and science of love of God, which Srila Prabhupada has preached all over the world. Niyatam sangrahitam arag dveshit kirtam phalam pra. Now the karma of three types, the work of three types. The first work is that action which is regulated and which is performed without attachment. Regulated means according to the guideline of the scripture or spiritual master. One is without attachment, means attachment to the doership, and without love or hatred, which means doing as a neutral, I am doing as my duty, and without desire for fruits, is the work in mode of goodness. And the work in mode of ignorance, but action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires, his senses, and enacted for the sense of false ego. I am doer, I have done this type of false ego, action in mode of passion. Most of the people, they show that I have done this, they are in mode of passion. All these politicians, they are almost mode ignorance or mode of passion. None of them is mode of goodness. And the mode of ignorance, work in mode of ignorance, one who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature. Oh, this is really the highest. The action performed in illusion, in disregard of scriptural injection, without concern for the future bondage, or for violence or distress caused to the others, said to be mode of ignorance. Like all over the world, this terrorists, they are killing people, destroying, burning, bombing. This is the action and mode of ignorance. It is actually giving trouble to the others, difficulty to the others, destroying others. That is the work in mode of ignorance. Now, Ragi Karam Phal Prabhsur Lubdo Hinsatma Suchi Harsha Shokan Virtakarta Trajas Parikirta. Now, doer. Jnana, Karam is over. Now, Mukta Sango Ahamvadi Dhriti Utsaha Samanvitaha Siddhyo Siddhyo Nirvakar Karta Satvik. Who is the doer in mode of goodness? The one who perform his duty without association with mode of material nature. He is not influenced by mode of material nature, without false ego. No, I am not doer. It's not I am doing. I am simply an instrument. And with great determination and enthusiasm, utsaha, dhriti, without wavering in success or failure. Oh, it may be, I may be successful, I may fail, I don't mind, but I will work. That is the work in goodness. That is the worker or doer in goodness. This is the way we have to perform our work. But if one who is in a mode of passion, ragi, karam, phal, prabhsur, lubdo, hinsatma, asuchi, harsha, shokan, virtakarta, rajas, parikirta, the one who is in mode of passion is a greedy. He is a greedy, he is a envious, he is a impure. He is impure in means that he work for greed in black market, so he is impure in his consciousness. He is impure and moved by joy and sorrow. If he get a great gain, then he is happy. If lose, then he get heart attack. This is the worker in mode of passion. And the worker in mode of ignorance, the worker who is always engaged in work against the injection of the scripture. Instead of going to the temple, goes to the liquor shop, always in intoxications, involved in intoxication. And materialistic, simply for enjoying senses you work. Abstinent, I want to do this, I don't want to listen to you. He is abstinent and cheating, he is a cheater, he is a liar and expert in insulting others. Such type of lazy worker is in mode of ignorance. Now, Buddhir Bhedam Dhritesh, now intelligence in three modes of material nature. The winner of the wealth, now please listen the detail according to the mode of about three things: understanding and determination. Pravartincha nivartam karya karya bhaya bhaya bandham mokshan yaveti buddhi sapa. Buddhi means intelligence or understanding. Which understanding is in mode of goodness? The understanding in mode of goodness is one in which one knows what to be done and what should not be done. Right thing should be done and wrong should not be done. That is the one person who is intelligent, he is in goodness. But the one who think his understanding or his buddhi or his intelligence, with which cannot distinguish between the religious and religion, what is the dharma and what is adharma, what is the guide of this, what is the guidance of the scripture and what is independent, and he perform all this which should not be done. This is a mode of passion. And the one who is in mode of ignorance, his understanding is that which should not be done, he only does that. He always does something which is forbidden because he is lazy and because he is an illusion. So manyate tamasavarta sarvatha vipritancha buddhi sapar, always does opposite. Oh, you have to wash your hands before eating, he will never do that. Just do opposite. So they do everything opposite to what is prescribed in the scripture. Now dhritya ya dharte, dhritya means determination, three type of determination according to three modes of material nature. And then there are three type of happiness. Now listen this three type of happiness, because what happiness you think? Sukham to idanim trividham shrunu, there are three type of happiness. What are the three type of happiness? Yad agre visham eva, in the beginning it may be like a poison, but pariname amritomam, in the end it is sweet like a nectar. That happiness is mode of goodness. Like early in the morning to get up is very difficult, that may be very painful like a poison, but once we go in a temple and see the beautiful deities and chant holy name and dance and honor prasad, there is amritam. Ultimately, we get the highest benefit by taking trouble in the beginning. Like all these students go to the education, which is very difficult to go, but when they are graduate, they get the good benefit. That is the happiness which is in mode of goodness. But the happiness in a mode of passion is Vishendriya Sanyogad. His only interest is to gratify his senses. In the beginning it is very, very pleasing, but the end is like a poison. Beginning is sweet, but the end is very sorrowful. Like the people who are smoking, they think, oh, I am very happy, but then he get a lung cancer. The person who is drinking, I am enjoying in the evening, tension free, but then he get his liver failure. So in the beginning they think I enjoy, but the end they suffer. But those who suffer in the beginning and suffer in the end, they are that happiness in mode of ignorance. From the beginning to the end, only suffering is their life. In their life, that is the happiness of ignorance. Now the last verse of this section, modes control, the doer, the intelligence, the knowledge and everything are according to three modes of material nature. Now this is very important verse. Na tadasti prithviyan va, not on this earthly planet, na divi devesho va, neither in the heavenly planet. There is nobody who is free from three modes of material nature. Influence of these three modes of material nature is on this earthly planet and on up till heavenly planet. Nobody is free from that. Now we are going to the next section, which section start from 49 to 55. So these 6 verses say confidential knowledge. Now what we are going to discuss is confidential, more confidential, most confidential. So these 3 type of knowledge, actually if you remember, the 2nd and 3rd chapter has a confidential knowledge. The 7th and 8th chapter has more confidential knowledge. 9th and 10th chapter has most confidential knowledge. This is already in Bhagavad Gita. Now in 18th chapter, these 3 knowledge are again recapitulated. So what is this knowledge in verse number 49 to 50? Confidential knowledge from reaction free work. The work, but there is no reaction, no bondage. Through Jnana Yoga to the platform of Brahm and pure devotion and pure bhakti. So this is the section which is most important, confidential knowledge. And in this section we have verse number 41, and these 3 verses describe the 4 varna: Brahman, Kshatri, Vaishya and Shudra, and how they are recognized. What is that? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyan, Sudranam cha parantapa, karmani pravaktani subhav prabhair gunaihi. These 4 divisions of social system: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. How they are? They are not by birth. They are by guna. Guna means influence of mode of material nature, and karma, which means work. So what are the 8 good characteristics of a Brahman? Brahman is identified by Shamodamas, Tapas, Shocham, Kshantir, Arjavam, Evacha, Jnanam, Vigyan, Astikyam, Brahma, Karma, Swabhavajam. Brahman is one who is peaceful, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, knowledge, wisdom and religiousness. These are the natural qualities by which the Brahman work. Now the Kshatri, Shauryam Tejo Dhriti Dasham Yuddhecha Pyala Aplayanam Danam Ishwar Bhavascha Kshatra Karma Swabhavajam. The one who is administrative. Srila Prabhupada, well, I became devotee actually when I read the Prabhupada's commentary, his discussion with Professor Kotavarsky in Russia, that these 4 divisions are all pervading all over the planet. In your country also, in America and Russia, everywhere, China, there is the administrative class, there is the educationist, there is a worker class, and there is a businessman. So these are natural everywhere. Only technically they are called Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. Brahman is intellectual teacher. Administrator is a Kshatriya, as a army, administration, police, and the businessman is a Vaishya, and a worker is a Shudra. So everywhere this is our body has a mind, which is Brahman. We have our hands, which is for protection, is a Kshatriya. We have belly, which is actually Vaishya, which provide to every part of the body, and the half of the body is worker, leg, which carry the whole body. It's a scientific division. It is nothing to say which is bad and which is good. It's not that my foot is bad and my head is good. No. We always have a shoes for the foot. We may not have a cap for the head. So it is not that there is anybody is low or high. This is a scientific division of the Varna Ashram, and Srila Prabhupada really wanted to re-establish this Daivi Varna Ashram. This was his desire. He says, my 50% work is unfulfilled, and that he wanted to establish this Daivi Varna Ashram, divine 4 social divisions and 4 spiritual ashrams or institutes: Sannyas, Vanprasth, Brahmacharya and Grastha. These are spiritual, and this is a social system. So, and then what is the Kshatriya doing? Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity and leadership are natural qualities of an administrator or Kshatriya. Krishiro Goraksha Vanijam Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam. And businessman is one who take care of the cow, means go means cow and all the animals. And then he does the agriculture, agriculture, and then trading, business. This is Vaishya Karma. And one who help all 3, Brahman, Kshatriya and Vaishya. Brahman also need help. Kshatriya also need help to make weapon, to carry weapon. Brahman needs wood, he needs all the things for the, so all the other needs the help. And one who assists all of them, he is considered the fourth class, which means Shudra. So they work according to their nature. Now what actually is said here is, Sway karmane, whatever is your duty, you perform your duty. It makes no difference. You may be cleaner, but you perform that duty, sansiddham labhate narav. We can get the full perfection by our own work. So karmana nirta siddhim yatha vindati shan. How by our own work we can get perfection? That now listen, Arjun. And Krishna is saying, yata pravarti bhutanam yen sarvam idam tata swakarmanam tam abhirichya siddhim vindate manava. Abhirichya means one who worship me by his own action. He will get perfection. So if you clean that this whole belongs to Krishna and offering it to Krishna, then your cleaning will make you perfect in your own praise. It is not that you have to simply go and do the puja in the temple, then you will be perfect. No, by cleaning the temple, you will also get perfect. So whatever is your talent, use that talent in service of Krishna. Now, this is very important verse 47. Shreyan swadharmo viggunaha. In my own action I may have a fault, no problem. Offer it to Krishna, it will be purified. But I want to do higher duty, which I may do very rightly, but still it is dangerous. Like the thing is that, Arjun, you think you are Kshatriya and you want to do the Brahmans, go and beg, as Arjun said. Krishna says no. There is a fault in Brahman's duty also. When he is performing yajna, he has to sacrifice some animal. So there is also a fault there. No work is free from fault. This is most important work. Usually we give the example, Swadharma niyatakam kurvan napnoti kalbashan. Perform your own duty, you will never come under the bondage. perform your, this is a very common example you might have heard many times. Person had a dog, he was a washerman, he has a dog for the protection, he has a donkey for carrying load. So at night thief came. So donkey told the dog, please you bark. He said, I don't have a mood now. Oh, donkey thought, well, I must really wake up my master. So donkey started singing his barring sound, and the washerman got up, thief ran away, and he was very upset with the donkey's disturbing his sleep, so he beaten the donkey, and dog was smiling. He said, why? He said, why you have done my job? You have done right thing. You have protected the property of our owner, but this was my job. If I would have barked, he would have thought that there is some thief. But you do somebody's other's duty, you may do it perfectly. There was a watchman, and he told to the owner that don't go today in this train, there will be accident. And by the way, that train has the accident. But he said, how you know that? He said, I was sleeping and I got a dream. He said, get out from the job. You are a watchman and you are sleeping and dreaming? So you may do something right, but you are doing somebody else's job that you will suffer. So this is most important verse, perform your own duty. Now the completing verb, which is most important work, sometime on 18th chapter I only speak on this verse. Sahajam karma kaunteya sadosham api na tyajeta. Every work has some fault. Sarvarambhi doshena dhumena agni. And the example is, when you have fire, there is always a smoke. Because of the smoke, nobody gives up fire. The mothers, they cook on a firewood. The smoke is disturbing, but they have to cook, otherwise how will they live? So all work has fault. Therefore that fault will be rectified when the work or the result of the work is offered to the Supreme Lord. Then the fault will be over. Now we are going to the last section. Oh, now how can we do this work? Then we go to the Nishkam, say, Siddhim prapto yatha Brahma. Now we are reaching to this platform of Brahma. By doing our work, we will reach to the stage of Brahma. Tathapnoti nibodh me samase nevakonte nishta janaspra. And these are the how one can reach to the stage of Brahma. Buddhya vishuddhya yukto, one who has purified his intelligence. Dhartya atmanam nyamyacha, he has a full determination according to the scripture. Shabdadin vishya tyaktva, he has given up sense gratification. Raga dvesha vividdhasya, he is not disturbed by attachment and aversion. Viksevi, he is always in a solitary place. Lagva asi, yatavaka kaya manasaha. These are the ways one perform the duty, then he will be free from the reaction and come to the stage of the Brahma. So here there are the good characteristic, being purified by his intelligence, controlling the mind with the determination, giving up object of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, and one lives in a secular place and eat very little. Who control his body, mind and power of his speech, and who is always in trance, who is detached, free from false ego, false strength and false pride, lust, anger and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship and peaceful. Such a person is certainly elevated to position of self-realization. And what is self-realization? Brahma bhuta prasannatmana sochati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. He will come at the stage of Brahma, which means there are two types of living entities. One is called Jiva Bhuta, it means he is bound. The other is called Brahma Bhuta, it means he is liberated. He is liberated from the three modes of material nature. Liberation from what? Liberation from three modes of material nature. Then how will you recognize that person? Na sochati na kankshati. Something is lost, he will not be worried about that. and something is expecting good, he don't hanker for something getting, neither hankering for something, not crying for something lost. Brahma bhuta prasanatmana sochati, sama satravesh, sama, he is equal to all. Brahma bhuta prasanatmana sochati, sama sarveshu bhuteshu, he is equal to all. Then he can only advance and get my para bhakti, my superior devotion. The Prabhupada used to call, used to say this, that after liberation actually devotion is start. So Brahma Bhuta is a stage of liberation, and then real devotion is start. And therefore this is the most important verse of this section, and that is Bhaktyamam abhijanati, only by bhakti one can know me as I am. In tattva, it means in truth. Tato mam tattvato gyata, in this way he knows me in truth. Vishate tadanantram, after that he will enter in my abode and become my associate. Now we are going to the next section, 56 to 60, work in work in pure devotion. Work in pure devotion. This is the next section, 56 to 60, work in pure devotion. And what is this section says? Sarva karani abhisada kurvano mad vyapashriya mad prasada vapnoti shashvatam padam abhiyan. By my mercy, Krishna says, Arjun, by my mercy, if you perform all the activities as my pure devotee under my protection, then you will come to my abode by my grace. And this is the next verse. Chetsa sarva karmani mai sanyasya mat praha buddhi yogam upashrite machit satatam bhava. There is a buddhi yoga which we have heard in 2nd chapter, and in 10th chapter buddhi yogam, and this is again buddhi yogam. So Krishna gives a buddhi yoga only to the selected people, not to all people. Those people who surrender to Krishna, they will get buddhi yoga. All will get the intelligence, where is the food and where to sleep. But to know the soul and its relationship and soul's relationship with Krishna, buddhi yoga, that can be given only by Krishna. So buddhi yoga Krishna will give. When Krishna will give buddhi yoga? Chetsa sarva karmani mai sanyasya mat praha, taking shelter of me and giving up all work unto me. Machit satatam bhava, then he become actually Krishna conscious. And this purport of verse number 52 is a personal realization of Srila Prabhupada, and I like this purport, and I want this purport that devotees should meditate on this purport, and then they will be free from all anxiety. And this verse says, Machit sarva durgani mat prasada tarishyasi madachit sarva durgani. With all the obstacles and difficulty, you overcome all this by my mercy. Atchetvam ahankaram, if by your ignorance and false ego you don't listen to me, then you will be destroyed. You will lose everything. And Srila Prabhupada writes, I am reading the few lines of the purport. For one who acts in Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna become most intimate friend. Lord Krishna become most intimate friend, and he always look after his friends' comfort, not needs, comfort. Prabhupada himself is speaking his realization. I am working 24 hours for Krishna. Krishna is providing me everything in abundance. All over the world, flying in the aeroplanes 14 times around the globe, opened so many temples, having all the facilities. Comfort, Krishna is giving comfort, and he gives himself to his friend. Krishna gives himself to his friend, like Krishna is giving himself to Arjun as a friend. So Krishna gives oneself to one who is devoutly engaged, working 24 hours for Krishna. This is my realization. If we work for Krishna, then we have not to worry. Krishna will take care of everything. Now Krishna is saying something, but by false ego, you don't listen to me. Then Krishna said something. Then your nature will force you. then your nature will force you. Why? Arjun says, why? He said, now you want me to turn your chariot back. And then Duryodhan, Dusasana and Karna will say, hey, here is a coward going back. At that time, you as a Kshatri, your blood will boil and you will take your Gandhi and you will shoot arrows. Then I am not responsible. And then Arjun is asking, how you know? And then the next section is 61 to 63, more confidential knowledge. More confidential knowledge means surrender to the Paramatma or Super Soul. Now Krishna says that this body is a machine, yantra rudhani mayaya, this body is a machine and I am the driver of this machine. Like Krishna is a chariot driver of Arjuna, Krishna is our driver of all of us. Only he manifests when we surrender. So he said, I am the driver of all the bodies, I know what you are going to do. And then Krishna said, therefore, tameva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata. Arjun, take shelter of that super soul. In Bhagavad Gita, first Arjun says, Krishna says, buddhao sharanam gaccha. Go to the shelter of intelligence, the one who gives the bhakti-yoga. Arjun did not really accept that. Then Krishna says, tameva sharanam gaccha. That Paramatma, that super soul who is in everybody's heart, go and take shelter of that. Arjun says, my super soul is telling me or my mind is telling me, I don't know. So he did not accept this. Therefore Krishna has to tell in most confidential knowledge, Mam ekam sharanam varja. You come to my shelter only. So this is the second section which now we have finished. What is this most important in this section? ईश्वर सर्वभूतानां हृदयेषु अर्जुन तिष्ठति भ्रामयं सर्वभूतानि यंत्ररूढ़ानि माया तमेव शरणं गच्छ सर्वभावेन भारत तत्प्रसादात् परां शान्तिं स्थानं प्राप्स्यसि शाश्वतम्. Okay, now we are coming to the next 64 to 66, most confidential knowledge. Most confidential knowledge, surrender unto Krishna. So this is the last section which is Krishna's teachings, most confidential knowledge, and this is from 64. So here is the 64. Sarvago yatmam bhuya shruno me paramam vacha stoshi me drinam iti tato vakshami te etam. You are very dear to me, Arjun, and for your benefit I am going to speak you again the most confidential knowledge. I have already told you in 9th chapter. Again I am speaking the same thing again to you because you are very dear to me. And then what is the most confidential knowledge? Same verses are coming again. मन मना भव मद भक्तो मद्याजी माम नमस्कुरु मामेवेश्यसि सत्यम ते प्रतिजानि प्रियोसी में. Only satyam word is extra, pratijani word is extra. And why this? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, Arjun says, Krishna, you told the Brajvasi I will come back, you never went there, so how can I believe? He said, no, I promise to you, you are my friend. This is truth. Do these 4 things. This is a 4-point program of Krishna. Think of Krishna, man mana. Bhav mad bhakto, become Krishna's devotee. Mad yaji, worship Krishna. And mam namaskuru, offer obeisance to Krishna. This verse you must have discussed, is a very confidential, very important verse. And then the last verse of the most confidential knowledge, Sarvadharman paritejamam ekam shranam varja aham tvam sarvapape vimokshishami sucha. There are six characteristics of surrender. And what are the 6 characteristics? Anukul yasya sankalpa, always do favorable things for Krishna. Pratikula varjanam, that which is against the devotion, give it up. Rakshita iti vishwaso, have always a confidence Krishna will protect me. Goptritve varanam tatha, this is the main, that Krishna always protect me. And then Atma Nikshep, surrender to Krishna. And Karpanya, I cannot do myself, Krishna can help me. And Arjuna started by surrender in 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, 7th verse, Karpanya dosh. So now, this is the most confidential knowledge. Now the next section says, 67 to 71, to whom we should speak Gita and to whom we should not speak Gita. So this says, those who are not austere, those who are not devotees, you never speak Bhagavad Gita to them. And those who are envious of me, these three type of people we should avoid when we preach Bhagavad Gita. Who are they? This most confident knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere, those who are not devoted, and those who are envious of me. 3. And to whom it should be given? Yaidam paramam goyam madbhakteshu dasyate. The one who gives this knowledge to my to my dear devotees, sincere devotees, bhakti mai param kirtva, oh, he will get devotion himself. Mam eveshyasi asang, there is no doubt he will come to me. And then this is the most famous verse in Gita Jayanti. You get Gita, you distribute Gita, and you will become more dear to Krishna. Krishna says, Nacha tasman manusheshu kaschin mam priya kartama. Among the human beings, nobody was dear to me before, now, or in future. What? Bhutva nacha tasmad anya priyatro bhuvi. If you preach Krishna consciousness, distribute Bhagavad Gita, then you become dear to Krishna, and nobody is dear to, was dear to, or in the future will be dear to Krishna. Now reading Gita, what is the benefit of reading Gita, and then what is the benefit of hearing Gita? Here, adhyachyate imam, one who reads this Gita. Adhyan means hearing or reading. Dharmayam samvadam, this is a dialogue about the religiosity or a dharma. Jnana yagnena, this is a jnana yagya. Tesham ishtan syan iti me mati, this is my opinion. One who understand and study Bhagavad Gita. Shardhavan anushoya shrunyat. Now those who are faithful and who hear Gita, after reading, hearing, those who hear Gita, so they will go to the planet where the pious people live, higher planet, Satyalok, and then Kachite Shrutam Paratvaika. Now these two verses, now this is now is 72 and 73 is Arjun's realization. We are completing the 18th chapter. Arjun's realization. Krishna is saying, now I have told you everything, Arjun. Now you contemplate on this. Vimarshesh aseshena. Completely you think about this, do whatever you want to do. And now Arjun's realization. This verse is most important. Arjun vacha nashto moho smrti labdva tva prasadam maya achyuta. Gita started by word achyuta in 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Senyorubhyo dhratya sthapya me achyuta. Now Gita is completing by Arjun's this verse. Nashto moho smrti labdva tva prasad anuchyuta achyuta. By your mercy, now my illusion is gone and I got my remembrance. And what is that remembrance Arjun got? What Smriti Arjun got? This Smriti Arjun got that I am eternal servant of Krishna. I will only fulfill the desire of Krishna, then I will be happy. So when then Arjun says, Stuto asmi gata sandhya, now I have all my doubts are cleared. Karishya vachanam tava, whatever you say I will do. Then what Krishna said? Oh, okay. Then you take your Gandhi bow and start fighting. And Krishna said, okay, I will do it now. Now there is a last section, and this last section is 74 to 78, prediction by Sanjay. And this prediction of the Sanjay is saying, Itiham Vasudevasya Parthasya Mahatmana. These both are great soul, Arjun and Krishna. And this is the dialogue between them both, Samvadam and Ashrusham. Adbhutam, this is extraordinary, this is wonderful, and I am getting tears, and I am getting here on ends. This is Vyasa. How you know this? Vyas Prasad. Now he is glorifying, it is by my spiritual master's mercy. By the Vyas Prasadam, by the mercy of my spiritual master Vyasadev, I have heard this direct talk between Supreme Lord Sri Krishna and his great devotee Arjun. And who is the Krishna? Yogeshwara. Yogam Yogeshwarat Krishna. Sakshat, personally. Prabhupada was once in some western country where there were all churches and people were very pious. They asked Prabhupada, what do you want to give us? He said, you all are people, pious people, always going to the churches. He says, that is all right, where you came. He said, I am going to give you the most authoritative knowledge spoken by, directly by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he said, Sakshat, Sakshat means directly, Yogeshwar Krishna has spoken this knowledge. It's not a knowledge coming from any ordinary person. Rajan, hey, Dhritarashtra, son, Samartya, son, when I remember this, when I recall this, Samvadam imam adbhutam, this dialogue between Krishna and Arjun, which is wonderful, which is extraordinary. Keshav Arjun, you hear Keshav and Arjun. Between the Keshav and Arjun, Hirshyami cha muhu muhu. Again and again, I am getting jubilant and I am very pleased. And then he is saying, Tacha san samartya samrota arupam atyahud. I am now thinking of that Virat Roop, that Vishwa Roop Krishna has shown to the Arjun, his universal form. I am remembering that. Vishmayo me Mahan Rajan. Hey Maharaj, I am completely astonished. Hirshyami cha punah punah. I am very, very, again and again getting jubilant. Now this is the last verse of Bhagavad Gita. People sometimes say, oh, Bhagavad Gita you keep in your home, then there will be fight like Mahabharata. But this verse says no. Yatra Yogeshwaro Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Shri Vijyo Dhibhuti Dhruva Nitir Matar Mama. Wherever, Sanjay's prediction, wherever there is a Krishna who is Yogeshwar, and where there is a Dhanurdhara, Arjun, Gandhivdhari, only there will be Shri, which means opulences. Vijaya means victory, and Dhurva means thing which is unshakable, stable things. Niti means the law or the character. So exactly I am reading Prabhupada's translation. Wherever there is a Krishna, the master of all mystic, Yogeshwar, and wherever there is a Arjuna, the Gandhivdhari, Dhanurdhara, there will also be certainly be opulence, Shri, victory, Vijay, extraordinary power, Bhuti, and morality, Niti. That is my opinion or prediction of Sanjay. So whoever gets this Gita, read this Gita, preach this Gita, hear this Gita, this 18th chapter will become dear to Krishna and his life will be successful. He also will have all the wonderful good qualities of a devotee and will be successful in this life, and he will be the personification of morality. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.